Hello BookTube and welcome to Tag Tuesday. Because I necromantied one of his tags, Steve Donahue has created a new random questions tag. This time, 20 questions. Let's get started. Question number 1. What's the nearest place to you that's so famous everybody knows it, and how near is it? The Silos. For about 10 years ago, HGTV premiered television series called Fixer Upper, starring Chip and Joanna Gaines. There are two local Waco realtors, contractors who would take a family, show them 3 houses. The clients would pick one, and then they would renovate the house for the rest of the episode, and then show them the ending with an oversized poster of what the house used to be. And they would also show bits of Waco and the surrounding county, McLennan County, and other counties occasionally, here and there. And from the show, from Fixer Upper, the Gaineses have pretty much built a little empire retail space. They bought a old Silos and renovated it into a marketplace. Magnolia Silos, I think is what it's called. A bakery, other vendors are there. They also have a little resale shop on Bosque, which used to be their headquarters, and I used to actually walk past it every day when I would go to Dollar General. They also have a restaurant, a bed and breakfast here in McGregor where I live, and they also bought a castle, and I think an old home, an older home too. So the Gaineses' presence in McLennan County and Waco pretty noticeable. So I'm definitely pointing to the Silos as the most famous place in Waco. And it's about maybe a 30-minute drive that way. Yeah, I personally have never been there. Not to be grouchy, but yeah, the style's not quite what I'm interested in. So anyway, question number 2. Have you ever had a paper cut so bad you thought you might die of it? No. I mean, I've had plenty of paper cuts, plenty of really bad paper cuts, but I've never had one that's so bad that I'm like, oh, I'm going to die. I mean, I have had ones that I wished would hurry up and heal, or get me a bleeding band-aid so I can not get blood all over the place, but no, I've never felt like I was about to die from a paper cut. 3. Have you ever found anything genuinely valuable in a used book you bought? Annoyingly, no. The only thing I've ever really found in used books have been messages from, because usually these books have been given as gifts, and the gift giver will inscribe the book to the recipient. But that's really the only things I've ever found. I've never found money. I've never found interesting letters or interesting used items used as bookmarks. Okay. Question number 4. Have you ever read, met, or married Jacques Barzun? I have never read, I have never met, and I most certainly have never married Jacques Barzun. Man would have been old enough to be my grandfather. No. Number 5. Aside from your pets, What is the specific non-human animal you see most often? Insects. My apartment is pretty much a major attractor of insects and also spiders. And it can get quite annoying. So, yeah, insects. Specifically, cockroaches. There's a mechanic shop, or like a, yeah, right behind that wall. And then past the next apartment over, there is a feed store. So, we get quite a few pests, annoyingly enough. Number 6. Have you ever been inside a cathedral? If more than one, do you have a favorite? Unfortunately, I've never been inside of a cathedral. Number 7. Have you ever been actually seeing and hearing things delirious? No. I only really had, I think, one moment where that could maybe kind of sort of have been true, like the somewhat delirious, when I basically was like really hot and I had like an air vent on and I kind of lost it. But I've really never been like, delusionally delirious before. Number 8. Do you have blood relatives who read for pleasure? Yes. My mother reads for pleasure. I remember her reading when I was younger. And then she had like a mid-sized, primarily romance collection. She had like a Laurel Spencer, Sandra Brown, I think maybe some Danielle Steele, a bunch of others. And then she got rid of it, and she really didn't read for decades. And then she's recently picked up the habit of reading again, although she doesn't collect books and she doesn't really like to buy books. So it's basically a hassle trying to, like, occasionally I will check her out books from the library for her. And I'm wanting to try to see if I can do like either Kindle Unlimited or the ebook section of my library, which I'm currently having issues with my local library, so I don't know what's going on there. And then my aunts are also big readers, and they sort of cycle through, like, share books between them. So, like, and then they'll give my mom some books too. So my mom's gotten several care packages filled full of books over the past few months since the pandemic started. My brother and his family don't read. I've tried to get my nieces and nephews, the 4 children of the apocalypse, into reading, but so far I have failed fairly miserably. I might try to get them some more books for Christmas, or I might just get them toys. Number 9. How many species have you smooched smack dab on the lips? Only one. Humans. Number 10. Do you ever listen to the radio? Any favorite program or person? I used to. I don't have a radio right now. And when I did listen to the radio, I would mostly listen to NPR. I loved, like, say, All Things Considered, Fresh Air, Prairie Home Companion. I haven't listened to any of those in ages. And when I was much younger, I remember one of the radio stations, I think it was a pop station, I don't know. This is like 20 years on. 20 years ago. They would late at night, like on Sunday nights, have a sort of a experimental techno sort of hour or show, hosted by a DJ called Forrest that I just absolutely adored. And I've never really figured out anything about that. But anywho. Number 11. Have you ever been to the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, or the Leaning Tower of Pisa? Unfortunately, I've never been to Paris nor Pisa. I would have loved to have gone, but yeah, I have major anxieties about traveling. I mean, I can work myself up into going places. But yeah, I mean, the cost and all of that stuff, I've never really been able to travel like I would have liked to have. Question number 12. What little thing do you miss most that you've lost due to the pandemic? Going to the library, and also going to Golden's Book Exchange, and probably the Friends of the Library book sale. I enjoy going to the library and spending hours there, going physical book shopping. I really miss it, even though I mean most of what I buy in physical, like the books I buy, are online. Even before the pandemic, I very rarely actually went to a physical bookstore locally. But when I've missed not being able to go if I wanted to. Number 13. What little thing do you miss least that you've lost due to the pandemic? Waco Transit. So I don't live in Waco. I live in a satellite sort of suburb, a small city. And Waco Transit runs a rural service where they will send a bus or a van or a car out to pick up clients and then take them to their destinations, whether in surrounding communities or into Waco itself. And then they'll come back, pick you up, and bring you home. And well, I don't necessarily have, major issues with riding the bus. Most of my experiences have been really good. There have been more annoying incidents. Several times the buses have been incredibly late. One time, I was with my mom at a doctor's appointment here in town, and we had taken Waco Transit to our appointment, and they ended up having some issue that they couldn't pick us back up, and it just turned into a nightmare. And also several actual pickups at the clinic here in town that Waco Transit have been meant to do. They've been hours late in doing it, I've heard. We've gone on, and I've gone on our tours where we get on the bus and then usually heading home, and then we pretty much go through most of McLennan County before we get home. And while, it's scenically very nice, and I do wish I could take pictures or I could paint some of these scenes, it's just, I don't necessarily want to spend most of my time on the bus, particularly when it's like a 20, 30, maybe hour trip, and it's taking me about 3 or 4 hours. So I don't really miss that. Number 14. What's your relationship with small talk? Hate it like acid, love it, merely competent. I actually quite like small talk. Obviously when I do these videos, I'm probably not as talkative as expensive in my answers and in my discussions as I would like to be. And even though I've been doing BookTube, the video part, for about a year now, I mean, I'm still haven't gotten used to really sort of opening up and just going off. Because I could probably do like a 30-minute rant video or something, but I just, yeah, naturally I guess keep it concise, if that makes any sense. But I do like small talk. 15. Have you ever won money at gambling? I think I might have won something at bingo. When I was younger, my dad really got into playing bingo. Him and his common-law wife. Which I don't know if I should call her my stepmother or not. I guess she pretty much was. They got really into bingo. And so me and my mom would go occasionally to play with them. And we'd play, and I think I won like $50 on a game or something. But I absolutely hated going. Is there another? And then occasionally like lotto tickets or something like that. But usually, yeah, my experiences with the lottery is basically it's not worth it. I've never really won much, so, or at least not enough to really want me to keep playing or have ever had fun doing it. So anyway, number 16. Do you ever give money or time to charities? Not as much as I would like. And that's something that I do want to be working on in the coming months. Although obviously with the pandemic, volunteering is a bit dicier than it used to be, and I do want to donate more money to charity, but I would also like to vet those charities to make sure they're going to the people they're supposed to be, the money's going where it should be, and not to administrative costs and what have you. Question number 17. Do you craft? Knitting, crocheting, woodworking, pottery throwing? No. I would love to quilt. I'm kind of obsessed with quilting. When I was younger, and McLennan County actually had local PBS stations, or actually Central Texas actually had local PBS stations. I would watch every Saturday. The PBS would have cooking shows on, and then it would go into woodworking. And my brother is a woodworker. He's built the bookcase I've shown a few times. He built that for me. He's built a headboard for my mom. He built me a box. I'm trying to get him to build me a pastel tray that's a bit more convenient than the box. So he's into woodworking, and I've been trying to get him some woodworking books and stuff so he has plans and he can better make better pieces or have better success with his projects. And then on Sundays, about noon, there would be some knitting and then quilting, and I absolutely love quilting, particularly like Fons and Porters. In fact, I have 2 of their magazines, 2 issues of their Love of Quilting magazine that I was thinking of showing, but I didn't feel like it. But I would love to have been able to quilt, but to basically make me like a patchwork quilt for my bed. But besides like wanting to quilt, I really don't craft. I mean, I paint, which is more of a fine art. So, yeah, 3 pieces of my work. Yeah. Which I really need to focus a lot more on, and I may or may not have a video where I have an internal cat fight an internal fight, and we shouldn't really use cat fight, but a mental battle between whether I should be getting some more books or I should actually get some more art supplies, because I do really want to get some more pastels and some paper. Definitely need more paper. Anyway, moving on to question number 18. Do you talk to yourself when you're alone? Yes, quite frequently. Okay, all the time. Basically, if I'm alone, more than likely I'm talking to myself. So, yeah, I'm constantly talking to myself. Usually lately a lot of it's been like working through writing issues I'm having, story issues, videos I would like to do for YouTube, which honestly sometimes I probably should film, because like there's I think I've mentioned it before, my last question for Steve Donahue's Q&A, not the one he's about to do, but the 7.4. I asked him a question about comic books, and I think I really would like to actually answer that question myself. And I've tried to film it several times over the past 2 Mondays or so. And I think also on Wednesday. And I just haven't really been able to capture what I wanted to say. But then when I'm talking to myself, either like after I give up for the day and moving on to something else, or at night, and I'm hitting what I want to say, and yeah. So anyway, sometimes I think I really should probably film myself when I'm just randomly talking to myself, and hopefully forgetting the camera's on, so I'm not as self-conscious. Also, I review the books I've been reading, kind of like work those out, that sort of thing. But yeah, I talk to myself all the time. All the time. Question number 19. Were you and are you a social bee in college? Marginally. Before college and after college, I really didn't like to get out much. I was a wallflower, I guess you could say. I wasn't very social. I didn't have much friends and that sort of thing. I didn't really participate. But in college, I was significantly more social. I actually enjoyed having a bit of a social life. I mean, not necessarily, I think, as social as I would have liked to have been, and as socially confident as I would have liked to have been, but I was certainly more social, to the point where I could, basically, I would walk pretty much a good chunk of Austin on a day. I would walk from my apartment to Book People on the weekends. And so I was considerably more social. But I haven't been as social since, which kind of sort of stinks. But anyway. Question number 20. Are you a sunrise or a sunset person? I plead the fifth. I'm not entirely sure. Do I necessarily look forward to sunrise or sunset? Not really. I don't really try to go out and catch either one. I mean, I'm more of a morning person than I'm of a night person. Although that really doesn't quite match with sunrise or sunset. I mean, there's some gorgeous sunrises and there's some gorgeous sunsets. So I'm both. Anyway, that was the 20 random questions tag, and they were definitely random. And since Steve's tagged everybody, I'm going to echo, if you haven't done this tag, please consider yourselves tagged. And hopefully I will have more videos this week besides this one and my weekly reads. So until I see you again, BookTube, thank you, have a great afternoon, and please stay safe.